Hello, it's Jen Bengal here from Out of This World Literacy, and today I want to talk to you about some classroom library do's and don'ts. I've got 4 things that you should not be doing in your classroom library and 4 things that you should do. Let's get started right away with these do's and don'ts. First off, I always say in the classroom library, do not level the books of your classroom library because I am a firm believer in keeping the books leveled behind the scenes. I only use book levels for my direct instruction with students, like in guided reading, and I want the classroom library to be a place where there is no leveling. I don't want to tell my kids you can only read books that are a G or the color red, so I keep the levels behind the scenes. Instead of leveling the books, what I do in my classroom library is I organize the books by genre or by author or by interest. Again, in the classroom library, do not have open classroom library time. Instead, establish library times in advance. At the beginning of the year and sometimes in the middle of the year as a refresher, I will do a mini lesson in my reading workshop about the classroom library and about the times that are appropriate for students to be visiting the classroom library. We'll come up with some rules and expectations and make an anchor chart, and then I will display that actually right in the classroom library, so there's no excuse. We'll come up with times together. When is an appropriate time? For me, it's never appropriate for when it's independent reading time for students to be browsing in the classroom library. They should have a book that they're reading already at that time. Before school, they can go to the classroom library. After school, in between class maybe, or right before recess, whatever is an appropriate time during the day for your class to be visiting the classroom library, set that up and make that plan together. Another thing is do not limit the students' book choices in your classroom library. Instead, teach students how to choose just right books that are appropriate for them, not only for their ability, but also what interests them. Not every book is going to be interesting to every reader, so teach students how to find books that are a good fit for them. Do not depend on students to label and organize your books. This is a big one because I've done this in the past and it's gotten me into trouble. Instead of having your students help you, use your best judgment to group and label books on your own. And as your library grows throughout the year, you're going to be adding more bins and more books and more labels. Just make sure you take over that because even with the most dependable students, it can get kind of messy. Also, I recommend to have somebody on library duty, where at the end of the day, they go over to the library and they check to make sure all the books have been put back in the correct bins and that there's not books laying all over and the library becomes messy. That's another great lesson you can do with the classroom library for management, is talking to the kids about how to check out books, how to put them back in the correct bins so that everyone can enjoy the classroom library for the entire year. I hope this chat helps you to think about organizing your classroom library and some things to do and not do in it. It's been my pleasure chatting with you today. Know that I'm the biggest fan of the work that you and your students are doing in the classroom. If you'd like more teaching tips, you can check out outofthisworldliteracy.com. Until next time, you've got this.